Hey everybody, I'm Frank, and I played the Golden Frieza deck in last week's video. If you saw it, it was our commentary video last week. We're going to go over some deck list choices and some of the general strategies for the deck. A lot of people ask for the deck list, and we played Golden Frieza because one, it's an older deck that still has some representation and still doing decently. And on top of that, we think it's one of the contenders going into the new format for Yellow. So let's get into the deck list.
All right. So, what was one of the reasons you think this is better? Do you think this is better or worse than Trunks Cheetah?
I think it depends on the matchup. Um, Definitely more favorable versus blue decks. You sideboard into some blue hate easier. The 5-drop Golden Frieza that really punishes blue decks for countering. Um, you play a more Unison based strategy to finish the game. You can power out the 8-drop Gohan from the new set as early as turn 2. And a lot of those strategies are just really good against blue, and decks like SS3 and Gamma still seem to be very strong. And you're not like getting washed by the red decks.
All right. Well, let's take a look and see what we got.
So we have the leader here. Leader old as time. Uh, Front side can place a one of our one drop Frieza army into the drop area to untap an energy and draw a card. Backside, same thing except in a changes two energy to active mode. So just pretty generic leader from a set one, but it's one of the few leaders in the game that still gives just raw energy advantage, and that's what the main purpose of the deck is just to manipulate energy to get a ton of actions, especially in the late to mid game.
And for those people that haven't played since set one, this is what set one leader. And back then, the front sides didn't draw, so only the backside actually draws when it attacks, which has been one of the reasons why the set one leaders have not kept up very well. Besides this one.
So let's start off with the Unison package. Speaking of finishing the game, we have two of the 3-drop Trunks and four of the 3-drop Gohan. Both these Unisons serve different purposes in the deck. This Unison is more for the mid game. Playing it on turn 3 while being able to untap energy is fine. Also can pop any of like Shinron's smaller guys for less. It's a dual attacker, so it can pressure Unisons, it can pressure blue, and in a pinch it can wipe the board. Uh, Not a four of, or some people are playing four of this, two of this, or switching the numbers up. I really like Gohan. One, he's just raw card advantage and is a blocker, so he can save life in a pinch. But also, he's just a late game monster. His -3 ability gives him plus 5k and triple attack, gives your leader plus 5k until the end of their turn. In the video, I think I chained two or three of these back to back, and you just can attack a bunch of times with a giant unison and really pressure really well with it.
Yeah, don't forget. Oh, don't forget.
It
Like that
also
thing also beans your leader too every time you use it, right?
right. And also another effect for every unison when you play this guy, if he has four more counters on him, for every unison in your graveyard or yellow unison, you pop a guy ignoring barrier and rest mode. So in our game, for instance, being able to pop the Shinron unison or the Shinron 8-drop was really really important that game.
Yeah. Then remember, it ignores barrier, which I learned the hard way in the video.
We have a small blue package. Four Zamasu, the Eliminator, and four Sensubin. Um, Sensubin, again, the deck's all about energy manipulation. Want to give Gohan another 5k, make him a 30k unison with triple attack, untap some energy, set up the next play. Zamasu normally is just the charge. Fun thing about the deck, the leader untaps any energy. It doesn't have to be mono yellow or monocolored. So play Zamasu in rest mode, untap it, and you can have your blue energy immediately. But then also after you have the first, any additionals come into play on tap. Also, sometimes they play, if you're not playing against Gogeta, sometimes against Sin, they'll play their A drop and you just play this guy and put it in the rest mode. Against some of the other decks like Gamma, they try to play Cell. You can just play this guy down, tap it, don't have to worry about Cell. So still a good answer for other 4-drops other than obviously Gogeta 8, because that card is undealable with. Um, but we have some sideboard for that. But yeah, so that's our blue package, and it's mainly just so we can run Sensor.
So you like this version more than the mono yellow version that people were running, I think, sometime last set?
Right now, I do, especially just because like your late game turns, like your turn 5 and 6 is just so ridiculous. Like being able to play cooler, counter, and play like a 3-drop Gohan, and then also play two more 3-drop Gohans in the same turn, just feels insane.
Yep, that's definitely strong. Yellow Cell is the best counter in the game.
Um, have a couple extra cards here. By a couple, I mean a lot. We need a lot of yellow extra cards to charge to get some of our effects off, like Robotic Riposte. So we have our 1-of Cold Bloodlust. Nothing really to explain here. The card's been around forever. Um, counter play. If they play a battle card, you negate its skills for the turn. This card's actually charged a lot. This card's lost a lot of its luster. You still play it as one of, it's still randomly good. Sometimes they'll play an overwhelm, you'll catch. Sometimes they'll play a guy, and it's like really, really opportune. But a lot of the time, this is just charge. So many cards have deflect nowadays, especially like the big boss monsters. So this card doesn't pull as much weight as it used to, but it's still, you still play it as one of because it can, just sometimes randomly catch people and win the game.
So in the current format, what would this card be aiming for? Like, what would you not charge this for?
Definitely want to keep it uncharged against most of the green decks. Green decks, most of their guys don't have deflect, or they're playing a lot more smaller variety of things. And against the black decks, there's not a lot of black decks being represented right now, but like any of the black decks, Gogeta Sinnoh, Bardock Reboot, Dark Broly, any of those kind of decks, this card can pretty much catch any of their guys. Black has a severe lack of deflect.
All right.
One of power of a Super Saiyan. Um, the card's bonkers. Would play six of it if I could. Um, it's not really. You always keep this. This card's insane. It triggers Bergamo. It's just a fantastic card. Can counter an attack in a pinch, but also the insane effect of just for 0 mana or 0 energy. Rest one of their guys, draw a card. Card's nuts.
I remember when we used to be able to play 4 of those
Oof,
things.
what a time. Playing two Vegeta's Final Flash. I think the version we played in the commentary had Time Magic. I've cut that card since. Time Magic just, since Shenron doesn't really have any dual attackers, and Time Magic has lost a little bit of its luster because it doesn't deal with Gogeta. So I put this up to two. One, this does catch Shenron, gets the barrier, so stopping their 8 drop from having triple strike. Or if you're doing it offensively, using Final Flash to negate Shenron's skill so you can't minus your Unison and get rid of a counter, so your Gohans lose triple attack. Very important.
All right, and just so and to make sure that people know, you cannot use this on the Gohan Unisons
That's correct.
because it's before Unisons were out, if I remember correctly, right?
I think so. Yes. But yes, this guy can target anything on your side of the field except for Unisons. A couple flying Nimbus. Shenron's doing really aggressive things. Gogeta can attack a bunch of times. Decks are getting more aggressive. Just a generic counter, Floodgate. Nothing really much to say about it.
Would you run Forbidden Power over this at any point, or do you like flying this more?
Um, Golden Frieza has a lot of card advantage, and I would rather just discard another card to effectively stop another attack than worry about Forbidden Power. Also, on offense, you're really good at going wide late with your big turn plays, so I don't think Forbidden Power carries as much weight, even though you don't have to discard. I think the extra negate, if you will, for stopping any more battle cards, or only one more battle card, and stopping the card that is attacking is more important.
All right.
Three Frieza's Army's reinforcements. I probably want to play four. It's a free charge a lot of the time, and it's just really good right now for this deck in particular because you can't really get stalled out anymore. But we'll go over that later once we get to the Z deck. Token Negate. Everybody's playing them. Card's just good.
Yep. Don't have anything else like it right now.
Three Realm of the Gods, Black Kamehameha. Again, just another generic yellow staple extra card. Um, Yellow has a ton of staple cards that you pretty much just play in every yellow deck. This is one of them. Tap a couple guys, draw a card, get plus 10k. Pretty standard. It can also, on offense, if they didn't give their Shinron barrier, they can remove it. I know we're talking a lot about Shinron here, but a lot of the formats are revolving around that deck at the moment, and this deck being able to handle it adequately is important. So the points we're bringing up because of that is because that's why.
And I don't think this is as good against Gogeta GT, which is the other deck, because they're all 4 drops. They pay 1 mana. I don't think they're losing a lot of value.
Yeah. This card, they like play out a couple of their Gokus and Vegetas. This just taps them down because they play their guys. You can just hit them. Don't worry about them. Bread and butter of the deck. We have four Frieza's Call, four Ginyu Former Galactic Elite, and four Tagoma Cold as Ice. Frieza's Call, 1 energy. Uh, choose a 2 drop or less Frieza army from your deck. Play it in rest mode. Um, and it's an extra card you can charge. There's some cute things you can do with certain cards, like Steadfast, where you can get 2 extra cards in your energy and drop on turn 1. But we're not playing Steadfast because we're playing blue. But Ginyu and Tagoma, they have a lot of text, and none of them matter except for when they come into play, you draw a card. This other stuff is for the Frieza deck that involves flipping your life face up, and we don't do any of that. So these are literally just 1 mana draw cards, and then you can put them in the drop area with your leader effect to untap energy and draw another card.
I know Frieza's call. Some of the people were running a one of. There's a 2-drop Frieza that comes into play that can take a life. Did you used to run that or
Uh,
thought about it?
I used to run it as a one of. The new Vegeta in the Z deck from the promo packs from the like introductory to Z Legends. This sort of replaced the need for that. Like if I ever need to like self awaken, I just have it available on my Z deck now. So I cut it. It's not really necessary anymore in my opinion.
Okay, strong game when you cut that card.
One of the best floodgates in the game. We got Robotic Riposte. This card actually has a lot of functionality in this deck. On top of being a floodgate, one it's 15k for one. You know you can pressure with it. This deck doesn't have a ton of pressure early, so just getting them down to 4, 5 life earlier on, not a bad plan. A lot of people will not attack with this deck early, and you pretty much just always want to attack because you just want to set them up to lose, and you're going to be floodgating them slash just like skipping their turns a lot of the times with a lot of your effects. So getting them down to a low life total when you can like start chaining Gohans and such is important. But the counterattack, negate the attack, and then if they attack with a non-unison, they have to, or a battle card and a leader card in case we get extra cards later. Uh, but if they attack with a non-unison, they have to arrest a card. That triggers Bergamo. It's a really strong floodgate. Some decks can't really pump out stuff like blue decks. They play one big guy for 4 energy, and then they can't really do anything else after they attack. They don't have a lot of stuff to put in rest mode. And it's also a Frieza's army, so you can use this to trigger your leader ability and untap energy, draw a card.
Do you ever use the 2 mana to play a 4-drop from your hand?
Not anymore. I used to sideboard the Clan of Terror a while ago, but I've since stopped doing it. Um, doesn't seem as strong anymore, but it might come around depending on how the meta shapes up.
All right.
Got the newest addition to the deck. We've got 4 of Sun Gohan FlasherBrilliance. This card has been overperforming every which way I look. Um, so a really important thing about this card is that it by itself powers its entire engine. Um, it's a deflect, dual attack for 8, but you can pay evolve it for 3. And using the card in the Z deck that we'll go over here shortly, you can evolve it for 1. And you can also evolve from the drop area. So when he attacks, if you have a Unison, you can destroy a rest or KO a rest mode battle card. We don't play the pan, so we don't get the other effect, but we'll go into detail more with him when we bring out the Z deck.
So Yellow's boss monster basically now.
2 Basil, um, just very generic yellow card, 1 mana draw card, can be a 19k dual attacker. Most yellow decks running 1 or 2 of if they have the space. We have the space. We're a 60 card deck, so a little free pressure here and there. Also, decks like again Shinron, the new King Piccolo deck, they play a lot of guys really early, and so you can trigger his effect like on turn 2 and just like start clearing the board. Really good card.
So it's just a if you get it case. It's not like I know back in the day this used to be a finisher back in the day.
Yeah, it can definitely stick around if it does, and you can help on the turn that you go to finish the game. But it's a 1 drop. It dies a lot. Everything is just being demolished by cards nowadays. Shinron KOs every battle card in existence. Gogeta A drop. This is going to kill it. There's a lot of cases where, especially against red, where this card is just going to die a lot. But also on offense, if you're awakened, you have 2 energy to spend because your uh, battle cards can stack themselves to untap 2 energy. Playing a guy to draw a card, playing a Basil, triggering it, untapping the 2 energy with the other 1 drop you played. Basically, 0 mana, 19k dual attacker sometimes, and it can put pressure, can clear boards. It's just a great card. 2 Son Goku Absolute Annihilation. This is sort of a concession to everything that's not red. Or sometimes it does come up against red now that they're all playing Violent Rays. Sometimes they'll leave 1 mana open for Violent Rays, and then you play this card, untap some energy, play Gohans, and then you just kill them. But it's really good against blue, it's really good against yellow. It makes green's dormants not free. It's just a great card. This deck also doesn't have a ton of 3 drops outside of Unisons, so just a generic turn 3 play that's really good, hard to deal with. But it's sort of a setup card against some decks. Sometimes you just hold this and play, like I said, against like red playing Violent Rays, and then they have no way to defend or stop their attacks.
And this is so good you have it in the main.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about sideboarding a third. The card is really strong, and I virtually want it in every matchup that's not like black aggro.
Strong card,
If
still strong.
if they play floodgates, I want this card. Probably you probably side it out against Gamma maybe. Game doesn't have a ton of extra cards. Two Hasty Dispatch Dislo. This actually sets up a really crazy turn two play. A lot of the times, I want to play it as more than a two of, but because of the new Z Battle card and some of the things going on in the format, you can't really afford to play a lot of them. Yamcha's running around a lot more. We now have another two drop red Unison that's really good. So Yamcha is much more prevalent than it used to be. So sometimes you activate Hasty Dispatch Ditso and they just have the Yamcha and you just don't get to do anything that turn, or like you look really silly. For those of you who don't know, if this card is in your drop, you can warp it from your drop and play a one drop with its skills negated. And that replays your one drop freezes army guys, and you can sack them to your leader to untap energy. So it's effectively just zero energy to untap one or two energy.
Still as powerful as it was. So I think you used to run 3 before the set, right?
Yes. And I cut it down. I always want two just in case you get like the quote unquote nuts, but it's definitely lost a little bit of its power, but it's still a great card. I've never cut it from the list completely.
Okay, so you're a believer of the Topo. I think a lot of other Frieza decks have already cut that.
We have some one ofs. We have a Mira, a Champa, Swift Retaliation Cooler, and Magamo. We'll talk about each of these cards real quick. Mira Champa, classic finisher. We have Cooler to back it up. Cooler is a counter when you play it. You just stop whatever counter they're playing. So you play Mira, attack with it. They try to negate, play Cooler, give it double strike, win the game. Been happening for a while now. And this unit, this Overrealm, was interchangeable before this set. You could play Mira Assault from the Skies. You could play Fighting Against Fates before it was banned. There's a lot of options. But now because of Oolong, which we're just about to jump into, I know we're talking a lot about the Z deck. We haven't shown the cards yet. But because of a lot of stuff going on in the Z deck, especially Oolong, Mira feels really strong. Um, Cooler is always great as always. I sideboard another one. Bergamo is actually like not particularly good anymore. He has lost a lot of his power, especially in this deck. I don't play Poutine anymore. I've been trying to fit Poutine back in. Poutine seems pretty good, but so many decks have so many ways to trigger it now. Red Gogeta just triggers it for free when they attack. Sin Shinron can just plus their Unison and trigger it. The new Gogeta Unison just triggers it every time. So Poutine feels like lost a lot of its luster. In Trunks Vegeta, a deck that like can hold Trunks activation and then play Poutine afterwards, it's a lot better. But in this deck, we don't really have anything fun like that. But I want to fit one back into the deck, not sure where. But Bergamo, he's limited to one. Whenever you rest one of their cards, you can pay two energy, play him, then rest two of their cards that can hit energy. Sometimes it sets up for really good plays, on defense. But it's the format's sort of gone into place, and this deck doesn't have as many tools as it used to have to put cards in rest mode. And also, Power of Super Saiyan being free was one of the big reasons why this card was so good. And now we only have one of those, and so our rest card options cost mana. So it's hard to leave like three open mana for like tapping three cards if they have a big field or anything. Like you just want to like play a Floodgate and then also do this effect, and all that takes like 4 to 5 mana or energy.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. Bergamo used to be really broken like 4 sets ago, and now he's kind of like I have. Is like, have you ever used him at all in
Uh,
any
he
games?
comes up. I charge him a lot. But he's a 0 5K, and charging Z energy in this deck is hard pressed, so it's never a bad thing. And I do use him occasionally. Sometimes he still feels just like old Bergamo, especially if you have Power of Super Saiyan, he feels great. I'll sometimes try to hold Power of Super Saiyan just to play this combo, but he definitely has lost a little bit of his oomph in the most recent years.
And I think before this set, you were running Assault from the Skies instead of Creative Zord, right?
I was, yes. Salt from the Sky is just a big 30K double striker, drill card. You got your energy back for it. But now, especially with the Sensu Beam package, energy is nowhere near as much of an issue. And you get a little more flexibility. And also, Mirror with Oolong is just really good.
Can't wait to talk about that.
We got our super combos. We got three Krillin. He has moments before comeback. Standard super combo, bottom deck one, draw two, normal stuff. And then our secret rare super combo, Piccolo and Gohan. This card is really good. I can't express how strong this card is right now. Um, it catches a lot of people. It's sort of like, the Heroine's Lineage days, whenever, they attack with a big guy and you're like, ha, I got you. This card does that a lot too. They'll like attack with A drops in and be like, all right, put him to 40. You got anything? There's like, wow, one card, this, tap another guy, draw a card, trigger Bergamo if I have it, do a bunch of other things. He's also really hard for decks to remove. 40k is a big number to hit, and a lot of decks don't have just point and click removal anymore. Blue does, but like red seems to be all over the map right now, and they don't have just a good raw answer for Piccolo and Gohan, except maybe like Realm of the Gods. But that'd be a weird side in, especially for Golden Frieza. They know Golden Frieza doesn't play a lot of battle cards, and so it might look awkward to side that card in. So a lot of decks just don't have an answer to him once you jam him out. And he also can help you go for game. I mean, this card just does everything. Got you in the combo step. Um, Huge, hard to deal with. Draws a bunch of cards, rest cards. I mean, he does literally everything.
Is there any other secret rare you consider besides the Gohan Piccolo, or is this like
Uh,
the one for it?
Not even kind of. This secret rare all the way. Maybe Pan, like maybe in a world Pan. If Unison based decks were the absolute best decks in the format, maybe Supreme Kai. But this card just does it all.
Doesn't he tap Unisons too, if I remember correctly? Is it battle cards
I
and
believe he
Unisons?
only doesn't hit energy. So yep, it hits Unisons and battle cards.
Oh, okay, so still pretty strong, really strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now to the Z deck, what we've been waiting for. This is the reason why I think Golden Frieza is one of the best decks in the format. One little lonely Vegeta. A lot of the times people would like stall you, not let you awaken. This Z battle card, one Z energy for one, generic. When you play him, you can bottom deck a card to take one life and draw one card. He is unique, unfortunately, so you can't play multiple of them at once. But the big thing about him is like it's really just impossible to stall Frieza unless you're just not attacking. Once they get you to 7 life or 6 life rather, you can play Vegeta go to 5. You can have your Frieza's armor reinforcements go to 4, and then just awaken. So unless they're just not attacking you, it's really hard to stall Frieza out anymore. And certain decks like Blue wants to like not give you all that card advantage. The green mid range decks like Cell and stuff don't want to give you all that card advantage. Vegeta really just changed the game for the deck. Just gave it a self awakener that it's always available to. A lot of old Golden Frieza lists were playing the Master Roshi that could take 2 life and search up Moon, destroying Kamehameha, and we got to cut that card. This card just opened up a whole new world of flexibility and availability for the deck, all for the cost of one Z slot deck.
Very big boon, and very big boon to all the set one leaders, I would say, because I think almost every set one leader could follow the same logic.
Yeah, basically any leader that doesn't just awaken with a cool mechanic like you have 3Z energy or you have a 2-drop unison. Not everybody's cool and plays these new cards. Um, but if your leader struggled with self awakening or could get stalled out by your opponent by not letting you awaken, this card helps any of those decks.
And if they do try to stall you out at 7, let's just say they do it, like, are you fine playing on the front side at 7?
Yeah. If they're choosing not to put you down to a low life total or letting you stay that high, one great defending is a lot easier. In the late game, you can save your floodgates, save your nemesises and your robotic riposte and all your combo power for later. Also, you're going to still be pressuring. You get to combo the Gohan for free, so like you can still pressure with your leader. Um, I actually almost prefer it, but if they choose, like they pretty much just ignore trying to stall now because this card exists. But if they want to keep me at 7 or 8 life, I mean, more power to them. You functionally play the same deck, except you don't have one less energy. But with beans and stuff, it's not really an issue. This card is also the reason why we don't run 2 Dipso. Good players will not let you get rid of this card. Z cards don't have combo power. And if you're ever playing against Golden Frieza and they play this card, never kill it. Let them have it forever. Because Dipso, you have to have no battle cards in play. So they can't activate their Dipsos from their drop while this card's in play. So that's the negative to this card is that you just can't get rid of it. You really want to play it and then just have it be gone. But so you can activate Dipsos, but you just can't. And so if you ever play against the deck, they play this, let them have it forever. It's the best card they can have. One, uh, Goku, the evolved defender. This card is only one of because we're playing so heavily into the Gohan stuff. It's a fine card. Sometimes on turn 3, if you have a couple Z energy, you just play him, untap the energy with your leader ability, and then just attack with him and sit on him. He's really great against certain decks that like have leaders that attack multiple times. If you ever run up against him, he can when you play him, he stops a leader, unison, or battle card. So from attacking next turn if it's in rest mode, and then if he's in rest mode, you can choose one of your Z energy when they play a battle card and put it in the drop, and you can rest the battle card. So he's really good. He has deflect barrier, perfectly fine card. He pressures as well. He's 25k. He's a big boy. Just not something you want to run multiple of because we're doing the Gohan stuff. If I wasn't playing as much of the Gohan stuff, I would definitely play maybe 2 or 3.
You ever had a chance to use him and use him effectively, or is he just kind of a just in case you need him?
More of a just in case. I have played him in one game recently where he was like really, really good, but it doesn't come up a lot, and the situations seem to be rare, especially because his deck just doesn't generate a lot of Z energy. So the auto for resting one of their guys, it's not a once per turn. So as long as you have Z energy, you can keep resting their guys. But this deck does not make Z energy very easily. So it'll come up occasionally. One of the really neat plays to do with this guy is if you have Bergamo in your hand, you can like force some Z energy, like combo your Gohan since you don't mind them going to the drop. Like make Z energy uh, uh, very important to get to, and play him down, attack with him, and then have your Bergamo set up, untap some energy with the leader, and then sit there and like hold the Bergamo trap as soon as they play a card. So that's one thing he's great for is just like forcing Bergamo triggers. But otherwise, he's just sort of a, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, no big deal. Oh, the best card in the Z deck. This Gohan, I play four of it because I play four of the big boy Gohan. Back to this. So, like I said, this engine is completely self sustained. All you need is this Kai in your Z energy and this Gohan in your hand. Um, so the big line is you attack with the leader or you combo during their turn. Combo Gohan, put him in your Z energy. And then he takes one Z energy to play. So for 2 mana, you activate Dipso. You have no battle cards in play. So you activate Dipso, bring back the 1 drop, pay 2 mana for Gohan, put the other Gohan in your drop, play this Gohan, um, and once you play them, attack with them once, sack the 1 drop to get an energy back, evolve on top, and so you can turn to this card. And for some decks, like blue decks, that's really hard to deal with. They don't have a lot of just flat answers to handle this big of a guy that early. He has deflect. And then on the follow-up turn, you can play Unison, start KOing guys. So one of the big things about the deck is that it can just turn to attack once with him, 2 times with him, and a leader. You get randomly really, really aggressive, and then some decks have a really hard time dealing with that, especially if you followed up with a Unison or another one of these on turn three.
Did you ever try putting in? I think it's the pan that you whenever you use her for Z energy, you pay her for one. Have you tried? Do you try that before you cut her?
I did. I tried the Pan out. One of the big problems with Pan is that playing her for 3 mana doesn't ever feel good, and using her ability, there's a Pan that if you use use her for a Z energy cost of 2 or more. You can play her for 1 mana, and that effect's really good. But we don't really have that kind of energy floating around early. Like doing this takes all of our energy on turn two, turn three. If you don't have a untap effect, it takes all of our energy. And you also want an untap effect to leave open energy. We're still playing in a very aggressive hostile format. So Pan just didn't come up a lot. I also don't play a lot of cards from the Z deck other than like this combo. And so there's just not a lot of opportunity to play her. There's not a lot of opportunity for her to be like really good. It felt like there's obviously more testing to be done, but she felt really clunky and really awkward in the deck. And there's also just not a lot of space in the deck.
Okay.
And then last but not least, the Bacon Boy. We got Oolong. Greed is good, and you're gosh darn right it is. Um, this card is so good. I kind of want to play two. I kind of want to cut the Gohan package down and just play another one in case it gets answered when you play the first one. The big combo with this card is that it can choose any battle card, ignoring barrier, yours or your opponent's, and copy its stats. So copies Mira. So you play Mira, tackle Mira. He gets plus 5k for every card in your war. That stays. That's for the turn. It's not just for the battle. Play Oolong, copy him. You get a second Mira. And that is real kinds of good. So the deck, all yellow decks that were playing this kind of combo with Mirror Champa, Cooler, had like a if you're a 2 life, you die combo. And now it's effectively if you're a 3 life, you die. Because like you're a 3 life, I play Mirror, I'll attack. Like if you want to negate it, go nuts. You're a 3 life, you know this can't kill you. So a lot of players go down to two, or also if they don't have the negate, it's almost impossible to combo outside of a Mirror. And then you just play Oolong with Cooler back up and Champa and win the game. This combo is very good right now, very strong. Not a lot of decks have ways to deal with it. Um, it's one of the reasons we're playing Final Flash so that Shenron can't like catch anything. But even Shenron has a hard time dealing with this because he still gets the power before Shenron can activate its activate battle. Um, Gogeta can block it, I guess, but good. That's fine. You still got to like. Also, there's times when you're there at 2 life and they're actually just dead. It's like you have both of these in backup. You have a Champa. If either of these gets through, you just play Champa on their 2 life and you win. So this is very, very good. I'm considering playing a second along.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you killed me with, and it's very strong to. It's very tough to kill through. Oh, there was something. Also, like you could just take them from 2 to 0 if they're tapped out, right? If they don't have anything, you just play this and kill them.
Right. If
Right?
that, yes, if they're tapped out, or some decks have free counterplays. If you have the cooler in hand as well. If they're just a 2 life and you don't even need the Champa, you can just play this 2 and just kill them with that. Just here's one attack, here's another attack. You figure out how to combo over 200k. That's your business. The deck cycles a lot, so these guys are going to be massive. Um, it just adds a lot of flexibility to your end game. Sometimes you can like go in really hard with Gohan Unison and like attack them 9 times, get them down to a low life, but you don't actually have to kill them. You just sit back with Flying Nimbus, Riposte, all your defensive options, and then just next turn set up to kill them with those.
And who else would you copy? Would the only other card I would assume you would copy with Oolong? Like, have you ever copied the Secret Rare and killed them that way?
I haven't in practice, but it definitely could come up. Basically, if you just need a big beater, he's a 1 mana, pick the biggest card in play, and it becomes that. So sometimes, he'll be a 1 mana 40k, sometimes he'll be a 1 mana 30k. But 1 mana 30ks don't exist in this game outside of special conditions, and he's one of them. And he's just always available in your Z deck. So even if you're behind, or you got them to a low life total and they stabilize, but they have a big guy in play, you can just play no long, cover their big guy, crash.
And,
Sometimes it's enough.
and he's not a limit one, right, for his activate main. So if you go up against green, you could if you have 2 of them in the deck, you could play 1 copy, swing. If they dormant, then you just play the second one and kill them with that.
Right. It's the reason I really want to play a second one. A lot of decks have ways to answer him the first time you play him, between Dormant Potential, Frieza, Charismatic Villain. Um, there's a lot of options to get rid of him the first time you play him, but then you just jam a second one, and having 2 answers is really hard. So yeah, he's not a limit one. You can activate him as many times as you can play him. Card's just really good.
All right. Well, thank you.
But yeah, that's Golden Frieza. That's the deck we played on the commentary, and yeah, the deck's feeling good. Feels good against anything really that's not red, and against red it feels close. I still think it struggles a little bit with both the red decks, but it still feels very good in the format. I think it's definitely a contender.
All right. Well, thank you, and I guess we'll see everyone next time.
Yep. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and follow the channel. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them below. I'll try to answer them about the Golden Frieza deck, and we'll see you in the next video.